What's good with it in the hood with it? Welcome back to the Collective Clips where you already know. Tas, 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 tas. I get it in. But before I get it in, who remembers this intro? Hold up. You're going to miss that intro, right? No, you're not, because I got a whole bunch of new Super Norteño adventures coming up very soon, minus my primo Ricky, man. Hey, we got to keep it real. I got to keep it just as real as it gets, man, and tell you guys that he's up out of the picture, man, because he needs to be out of the picture. He wants to be out of the picture, and he should have never been in the picture. But I'm the one that brought him in, and now I got to kick him out, right? And that's just the way it is for his own safety. That's what he says. So now, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on also. That way you're direct in the direction of the dope content that I stay kicking. And I fucking appreciate you. Keep your shirt on, Issy, right? Because we're going to keep on doing Peppers as well. Roach, all that. You know, some stories are going to be based on fiction. We're going to call it fact and fiction because there's a lot of facts within the fiction. So let's go. If you like the stories, watch them. If you don't, then you can push. It's that simple. But today's story is based on all true events. And let's tell the real story about Super Ricky, about my primo. Let's do the last video that ever mentions Ricky, and let's put it all out there. Now, first and foremost, I always love my cousin Rick. Always, man. You know, he was very loved in the family, even if he thinks he wasn't, right? He still is. But you need to understand, on my dad's side of the family, all the family members that helped raise him or that he knows, they've all passed away. My grandmother's gone. My father's gone. His mother's gone. My Nina, who loved Ricky a lot, she's gone. My Theo's gone. My other Theo's gone. Like, the only ones that's pretty much left, I got two Theas that are left on that side. And one of them, she doesn't really fuck with too many people. She's always been the rich one of the family, the one that had money and had her shit together. And she doesn't like roaches at all, right? So she was like, nah, fuck this. I'm not going to do the roaches. Not me, right? And she pushed on. So at the end of the day, there's not very many family members left for Ricky to reach out to. So when I see him and his old lady, Kim, doing all these videos and trying to make people feel sorry for Rick, he doesn't have anybody. No one loves him. There's a lot of people that love him, but there's basically not a lot of people left from the familia to even love me. So it just is what it is. You have to be a man. You have to put your big boy pants on and realize and understand that, hey, that's the way this world works, right? But let me give you guys a background history lesson on who Ricky really is, the real Rick, right? First of all, my cousin's never been a gang member. North, South, none of that. His brothers, two of them are Southsiders. His other brother, I guess, is a Norteño. That's what he says. We don't know. It's a mystery, right? One thing I know he is for sure, I'm not going to put out there, but a Norteño, I don't know, right? As far as Southerners, yes, two of his brothers are righteous, real upstaters, with the business, always have been. And I'm not going to say Ricky was very embraced by his brothers. They love him, I'm sure. They know that's their brother. But let me tell you the story. So when Ricky was born, okay, he was born to my tia. Now, let me explain to you something. My tia loved me probably even more than she loved Ricky. That's fucking the truth, right? Unfortunately. You know, it's sad to say that that's the type of household he grew up around, and that's the type of situation he grew up in, and it's fucked up, but it is the truth, and it is what it is, right? She was a stern woman, a gangster in every form or fashion, right? She was addicted to drugs most of her life, but you wouldn't tell her that. I definitely wouldn't tell her that, right? I could tell you so many stories about my tia almost fucking putting a knife to my neck and almost killing me for a dime bag. She was not playing, right? And then I could tell you so many more stories about the love that she showed to her family and how she supported and looked out for everyone, man, when she was balling out of control, doing her thing. Everybody's bills were paid. She never told anyone no. She'd bitch at you and complain and threaten to kill your ass, but she never, ever turned you down if you needed money. She was just real, right? She did her thing. All the familia knew. And look, no one was going to test her because she'll fuck you up. My tia beat grown men up. She was no joke. That was Ricky's mom. His mom was a gangster, right? In and out of his life, her whole life. always in Chowchilla prison, you know, doing her thing, slanging, doing dope. Just, you know, that was her lifestyle. That's my father's side of the family. They didn't believe like really in working and doing good and all that. It was all a hustle. You know, every time I went around that side of the family, it was a hustle. You know, an armed robbery, a home invasion, a fucking lick, a come up, or whatever. It was always some type of hustle, right? And so that's why I based a lot of my stories off a lot of the hustles that I seen growing up, a lot of the things I was involved in. A lot of those stories are facts with twists, right? Different names to protect the innocent and different situations. And Ricky knows that, right? I think the one thing that upset my primo the most was the fact that he felt I put him in danger. But I feel as though ladies putting him in just as much danger, because instead of just letting it go and saying, you know what, it is what it is. My primo made some mistakes, saying some things. He put me in a little bit of danger, and it is what it is. I still got love, or whatever. Feel however you want to feel. I don't give a fuck, right? Instead, they keep going on and on and on and just drawing more unnecessary attention. And eventually people are not going to hate you for me. They're going to hate you for you. You know, I don't see Ricky as a threat. I don't see him as someone that will impose his will. I know him. I grew up with my cousin. I know exactly what he's all about. What he'll do. He's harmless. He's fucking harmless, right? He doesn't know no better. He doesn't have the capacity to think about certain things. Now, I'm not saying he won't fight. I'm not saying he's a super J-cat. No, my cousin was born with mental issues. You know, he was born sick, unfortunately, right? And his lady supposedly or allegedly knows this. And rather than protecting her old man and getting him off the internet and keeping him away from bullshit, she antagonizes the situation and keeps repeating herself and talking about it. Stop talking already, Kim. Because you weren't around to understand some of the stories and the things that we went through. You might have known Ricky since you were a kid, but you were nowhere around. In fact, your prima was his old lady for several years. And that's who my stories of Sheila were based on. Not of Kim, but on his ex-old lady, Felicia. That's the facts. When I told that story about her getting shot in the hand for a BB gun in the backyard by his brother, that was true. He knows it. I know it. You know, I never knew Kim. Never ran into her. Don't remember her. She claims that her father and my father were good friends. Perhaps my dad had a lot of homeboys, man. And I'm not going to question that, right? If she says it, I believe it, right? But there's a lot of other things that she says that I call bullshit on. You know, we've had conversations and nobody loves Rick. Nobody in the family looks out for him. His own brother this, his own brother that, but then wants to say, oh, we got love for his brother. His brother fucks with us. I know my primo. I know his brother very well. He's not ashamed of Ricky or nothing, and he loves all his family, but he don't want to be in the bullshit. Period. That's why I never really did a video about him. He asked me as a man, hey, primo, can you not do any videos about me? And I said, yeah. And I stuck to that. I might have mentioned that he was an upstater or a southerner in some videos, but as far as, you know, making whole videos just about him, I didn't do that just out of respect for him. I should have kept it respectful for everybody, or at least let him know. That's my bad. It just is what it is, man. I'm a man. I'll stand on that, right? But, you know, for people to manipulate my cousin, people like Slugs and other haters that just absolutely hate me for whatever the reasons are, to sit there and go in on these people's lives and to pump them up to the point where they have my cousin, they're telling them things like I created a GoFundMe in his name, which never happened, right? That I asked people to pay for his lawyer. That never happened. Show me the video, right? Just show me the video of me asking for money for his lawyer, and I will give every cent that allegedly got sent back. That never happened. Did a few people send me $10, $20, $15 here and there? Hey, shoot Ricky something, or shoot Ricky this for Ricky, right? Yes, absolutely. Okay, when I ever do feel like talking to Ricky, maybe he'll get a Buffalo nickel. But it wasn't thousands of dollars, maybe totaling $80 or $70. If he wants that, he can have that. And that's the truth. That's the facts, right? As far as this guy that they're running around talking about, Pepe and all this, I don't even know who the fuck that is. It's just a coincidence that my story of my cousin Pepe, that's based off my primo from Compton, right? That has no relation to Ricky. Just made up stories, right? But it is a cousin of mine. Just happens to have the same name as this fucking tweaker that they fucking found wherever the fuck they found him in Winton in some parking lot, right? I don't know that dude. How is it that allegedly from Kim and Ricky that I have no correspondence with them or haven't talked to them for several years? How would I know about their homeboy Ricky then? Think about it. Or their homeboy Pepe. Think about it, right? You kill your own stories with your own mouth. So now, let me tell you the truth about my cousin, man, because it's a sad, upsetting story. He was born drug addicted. You know, at that time, my tia was doing her thing. You know, she's from the old school. She's from old school, low rider, Chicana, gangster. She wasn't norteña or sureña. She predates all that, man. She was just a straight up gangster, right? And she lived in Northern California her whole life, so she gravitated towards more paisas and norteños and all that, but she didn't see north or south, none of that, right? Just she's seen fucking money and heroin. That's it. That's what she's seen, right? And she was always in the mix. My tia didn't ask no one for nothing. She was not the robbing individuals. Everything she got, she hustled. She was a hustler. And people didn't fuck with her. And like I said, in and out of prison, she gets out. She was pregnant, and that didn't stop her from indulging and doing what she was doing. And Ricky, unfortunately, came out addicted to drugs, right? He was a premature baby. He was very small, could fit in a shoebox. He had a lot of issues. Now, my grandma, man, God rest her soul, rest in peace. The grandma that Ricky loves, who raised him, the grandma that, loves all her children's children, was one of those hood grandmas, gangsters, too, straight up. Shut the fuck up, you son of a bitch. That was my grandma, right? She raised a lot of her children's children. Okay. There was a lot of her kids, like I said, on my dad's side of the family that were involved in drugs or gangs or just doing what they were doing. A lot of the women were going to the bars and being with several different men and just doing their thing. And the guys were hitting licks and coming up and in prison. And some of my tias were in and out of prison and drugs. And so my grandma, being the loving grandmother she was, she took a lot of her grandchildren in. She never had to take me in, only when I was on the run and shit, right? But she never had to take me in because my mother raised her children, my dad's kids, right? All four of us. But we were in and out of the life. Like we'd come, go visit my dad, visit my grandmother. I seen my grandmother more times in my life than I see my father. True stories, right? Because it was always little Leonard, right? It was always like, that's my grandma, that's my family. And Ricky was there. So when Ricky was born, my grandma took him in because his mother had to go do some time in Chowchilla right after she had him. And that was my grandma's baby. True stories. She had 3 babies, 4, actually. She had my uncle who passed away, who was literally my cousin, but was raised as my uncle, as her son. She took him in. He was killed. He was murdered by some norteños, right? He was a bulldog. So the stories I tell about my tío being a bulldog, that's truth. My other primo was a Southsider. She took him in, loved him. He loved my grandma to the fullest, man, nothing but respect. She raised him, right? And my other cousin who just passed away, Boo Boo, she raised him as well. Now my cousin who was the Southerner, him and Ricky had the same mom. He wasn't very close to his mother. He knew who his mother was, treated his mother more like a homegirl, but that was his mom's, right? Respects. Ricky, when he was born, it was unfortunate because my grandma took him in. So he was raised how he was raised, right? There was food on the table all the time, the best food. There was love. She loved him like no other. Ricky slept in my grandmother's bed until she passed away. Ricky slept, he was a 25, 26, 27-year-old man still sleeping in my grandmother's bed. Didn't have a room, slept in her bed, was a grandma's boy. That's a true story. Now, it's kind of weird. It seems kind of odd, right? But that's just the way it is. My primo slept with her till she stopped breathing. Okay? He was right next to her when she passed. That's the true story. He was right next to his mother when she passed as well. So Ricky was raised, he was like I said, us putting him in the closet and doing all that. We weren't doing it to torture him or to hurt him or none of that. He was a very hyperactive kid. Ricky was always just fucking spitting everywhere and yelling and bouncing off the walls. And so me and my primo Boo Boo would like, get this little motherfucker out of the way. So my grandmother had a thing. She would go to bingo every single night. She would win too, a lot. You could ask Ricky about that. And so if she was either cooking novelas or bingo, and not in that order. And so at night when she would leave Ricky, if I was there, my primo was there, it would be on us to watch him. He was a little bit younger. So, hey, get rid of this motherfucker. Throw his ass in the closet. Not for days or hours at a time, but just 10, 15, 20 minutes. So he calmed his little ass down and went to sleep, right? We were all young kids, man. Ricky never went through any bad sexual shit or beating or nothing like that. My grandma protected him. No one could touch him. That was her baby, right? And that's why he was very close to her. When she passed, he was never the same. He changed, right? So, Ricky was always been harmless. He's always been off. His mother didn't show him that much attention. My tia it's not that she didn't love her kids. She was too busy doing her own thing. Okay. And Ricky didn't get the love that he needed from his mom, but he did from his grandmother, who was more like a mother to him than his mom was, right? One thing I can respect about my primo is at the end, when his mom did pass, he did take care of her. He did let her live with them. He did take care of her until the day she passed, right? How him and Kim did that, I don't know as far as, how good they took care of her because she died in their care. But I'm not going to blame them. I'm just going to say that at least he took care of someone who never took care of him. Got to respect it, right? Now, the reason I utilized my cousin for a super norteño, and I should have never said his name and used his picture, but I did. Unfortunately, I made a mistake. But the reason why I used him for my stories was because I always admired Ricky's craziness and his willingness to get off and do what he had to do, even if it wasn't behind gangs. His brothers being gang members, you would think they'd be a heavy influence. He wore the Pendletons. He had the bald head. He got the few tattoos. He did all that. He was like a make-believe gangster. My cousin never fought anyone, not that I know of. He never had weapons on him. He never did not a motherfucking single thing in real life. He is not that. That's why it's so unfortunate the other day to see a live that was sent to me, a clip of my cousin saying he'll get a gun and come and kill me and drive and shoot me and do all this. Shut the fuck up, stupid. You ain't doing nothing to nobody, right? You're harmless. Harmless, right? Don't let these idiots and haters and your old lady pump you up, because you ain't doing a motherfucking thing. I know that. You know that. Everyone knows that. In your old fucked up warped mind, you might be upset, but Ricky, I will do what I did to you before I do worse to you, right? And I'm not threatening you. I'm just, come on, man. You already know the only time we've ever had any type of altercation, you had fucking hay on the back of your head in one punch. Stop. Okay, you know me, primo, but you don't know me lately. Okay, I ain't going out like that. I have way too much to live for. Don't write checks your ass can't cash. Don't make threats pumped up on behalf of people who hate me, man. Let them do what they got to do. You never ever threaten your family that you're going to kill them or do something bad to them, man. That's fucking stupid ass behavior. And I'm here to tell you, I take it with a grain of salt, but don't do that again, right? As far as Kim, for you even to allow your husband, your man, if you guys really are truly married, right? But for you to even allow Ricky to say things like that, you must not fucking know who you're talking to, right? And you must not know me. And I know when we talk, you're like, my family's in law enforcement, this, and that. I don't give a fuck about none of that. I don't care. I ain't never threatened you or said I was going to do something idiotic or bad to you. So I don't care about that. But if you really want to protect your old man and really love him, then you would make sure that he watches what he says. I love my cousin, but I don't like my cousin at this point. And he don't have to like me. I get it, man. I did him dirty. It is what it is. But to make threats that you're going to kill me over some fucking videos, you got me fucked up, bro. Don't ever come within my vicinity, bro, because that's the day your vicinity doesn't become your vicinity no more. It becomes mine. And I don't play about mine, right? I got children. I got family. You got children. You got family. Did I say some things that I shouldn't have? Absolutely. And now you've said some things that you shouldn't have. Absolutely. And let's leave it like that. Let's stop talking already. Okay? So my cousin had a rough life. Not rough in the fact that he didn't have love, that family members didn't love him, but he had it rough in the fact that his mother and his father was in the picture, but not as much as he could have been. And his mother was in the picture, but not as much as she could have been. But hey, I lived the same life. My father was in and out of prison. He wasn't really in the picture. He was a hustler. He was doing his thing. So I didn't have a father as well. And I didn't turn out all fucked up. I'm not fucking crying about it. I'm not begging people. Oh, nobody loves me. You create the relationships you create. You found your lady and she found you. None of your fucking mental issues or none of your drug addiction or none of that stopped you from meeting a woman that obviously cares for you. So stop that crybaby bullshit about no one in the family loves you. The fact is, when you're crying all the time for attention, you're going to seek the attention, but get the attention you don't want. The people don't fuck with you because you don't know how to act, right? See, for a long time, Rick was ridiculed. I wasn't one of the ones who did that to him. I was one of the last family members he had that gave a fuck at all. It's because my family are ruthless and they don't care about no one anyways but their own damn selves. And that's the truth, right? We all are built like that. It's in us. Ricky the same way, right? So be happy with your old lady, okay? Be happy you guys have 10 teeth between you and do your thing. Stop making threats. Stop fucking capitalizing by these haters thinking that they're helping you because they're hurting you. And for his old lady, man, you don't know me. Stop it, right? You could make up these stories and do what you want to do and get Ricky all pumped up when he's loaded or he's fucking drunk. If you want to tell some real stories, you want to keep it real. Didn't Ricky just call me a few weeks ago and, hey, primo, man, how do I kick drugs? How do I kick meth? And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I don't know, right? How do I kick meth? Fuck, you just don't do it. Yeah, I'm 13 days sober, man, but it feels like I'm shitting butane out of my ass. I can't sleep. I can't this. And I said, just, you got to fight it, primo. All right, all right. That same night, hey, primo, you know what I mean? Hey, can you send me $30 for me and my old lady to get a burrito? Cash app. Boom, I did that. Then, you know, with no problems. And look, like I said, Kim is a solid. She sent it back to me. A couple days later, she sent the money back. I didn't even ask for it. I didn't want it. I chalked it up. It was what it was, right? But she sent it back. Shit, I gladly accepted. But the next day after I sent him 30, the next night, hey, can I get 40 more for this? And then I already knew, man, my cousin's going to keep asking and asking and asking and asking for stuff. And I didn't want to help fuel his fucking drug addiction. Keep it real, right? No one forced the pipe in your mouth. No one makes you drink. No one does anything like that. You know, that's on you. Look, did I make some mistakes in the stories I told? Absolutely. And I'm going to own that. But all that threats and all this keeping going back and forth, you're my family, no matter if I like it. Look, hey, blood doesn't make you family. It's just, I mean, actually, blood does make you family, but doesn't mean you have to like the motherfucker. You're just related to him, right? I don't hate Ricky. I feel sorry for what he's went through, but everybody's been through shit. You know, when he sits there, nobody loved me. Motherfucker, you think I had all kinds of love too? I went through some shit as well. We all go through shit in our lives. Don't beg people to feel sorry for you. Make something out of yourself. That's just the truth, right? But as far as the true story with Ricky is, yeah, I did block him. I don't want to have anything to do with him. I did invite him up to Washington to come visit me. I did, right? I did invite him, but I didn't know they were leaving that fucking day. You know, he's a J-Cat like that, man. His old lady don't think, you know, usually if you're going to come visit someone, she said, hey, we want to go up there. I want to take Ricky to see family. I want to do that. I said, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I'm going on vacation. I got some shit going on. We'll get to that. You got to understand that at this time I had talked to Ricky and I knew his old lady had did the interview with Slugs or whatever. And I asked Ricky, did you do any interviews, fool? Don't be doing that. If anything, me and you will set the record straight and I'll put the whole truth out there, but don't be doing, no, primo, I won't. Next day, a fucking video drops. He did an interview. So he lied to me, right? And at that point, we were discussing them coming up that week, right? I cut them off. Like, fuck them. I ain't fucking with them no more, right? So you would think that they would try to get a hold of me like, hey, we're on our way. No, none of that. I guess allegedly they just tried to drive, got stuck somewhere in the middle of fucking Oregon somewhere, right? Never made it up to Oahu, never made it to Washington, never made it up to me, you know, running around talking about, oh, you're living at your mom's and you're with your mom. Motherfucker, if we don't talk all the time, how do you know my business? How do you know where I live or where I don't, man? Let's keep it real. Just because a motherfucking address is on the internet, do you ever see me petrified or shook up? Come on now, man. Stop, right? Stop with the bullshit and the lies. And yes, I did block my cousin. I don't want nothing to do with him, man. He's making threats, talking about I'm gonna kill you, trying to pull up here and do this and do that. You know what I'm saying? Don't act like you're tough. You're pulling up to Lolly's store. I'll pull up to Lolly's store and check. You ain't checking no one, bro. You just wanted to see what Lolly looks like and see if Lolly knew you. Lolly never claimed to kick it with you or nothing, Ricky. He knows of you. He knew of you. Didn't know exactly who you were, right? But you roll up and don't act like fucking you were checking him or trying to punk him or none of that. You went there and bought a bottle, got drunk, and threatened me. That's it. Stop. Get the fuck out of here, man. You guys stop already, right? True story is, yes, Ricky's got mental issues. He was born sick. He was born addicted. You know, I don't know why his lady won't let him speak. I can't talk to my primo if I wanted to. Anytime I try to talk to him, she talks over us. She dictates this program. Watch the live. She won't let him speak for himself. I can't have a civil, normal conversation with my own little cousin because his old lady won't allow it. And she says she's protecting him. You're not protecting him. You're trying to run his program. Well, if you had any smarts to you and you really want to run this program, tell him to shut the fuck up because I ain't the one. And there's a lot of people that ain't the one, man. And he definitely is not the one. So I will never do a Super Norteño mentioning Ricky, but that's not going to stop my stories. If you want me to keep my supers going, hit a 1. And if you want me to drop them off and not do them anymore, hit a 2. It's totally up to you as the viewer. This is the gun. Bang, bang. And this video right here is sponsored by Barrio Liquors in Turlock, California. And if you're in Turlock and you want to go get you something cold to drink, go to the Barrio. Do I love my cousin? I always will, Rick. I'll always love you. I don't fuck with you no more. I ain't going to talk to you. I ain't got no hugs for you. But if ever someone wants to do something bad to you, I'll pull up for you.